Are you interested in creating really amazing texture for resin pieces to add to so many decor items? But today we're going to be adding it to a memory box. Well, if you are, stick around because this is going to be a fantastic tutorial for you. Hi, I'm Alex Gossi, owner of Magically Resin, and working this year with Specialty Resin to bring all of these cool ideas to you. I'm considered pretty outside the box, and I absolutely love all of the cool things that you can do with Specialty Resin and their silicone. I thought it would be fun to try and see if you could pull off the texture from some fake animal skin fabric. So the answer is yes, you can, and we're doing it today. I'll have everything listed below that I've used so that you can easily recreate it with exactly what I made it with. But I imagine this technique would work with a wide variety of fabric remnants as long as the fabric is like a vinyl. This would not work if you were using a fabric that was porous because the silicone would seep through the pores and in fact attach to the fabric. So whatever fabric you're using, basically consider it needed to be watertight. So this will not work on a fabric that is porous, but it should work great on a fabric that is watertight like a vinyl. So I mixed up my Cast-A-Mold 1-to-1 by weight, and it has a 40-minute working time and an 8-hour cure time. So I made sure and I put this in a space where nothing was going to disturb it, and it's very important if you're making any type of mold really that your work surface is level, but especially if you're making a mold like this that's a very thin flat mold, it's important that the piece that you're working on is flat. And it's also important that the workstation itself is level. Now you can see how thin this mold is, and I'm working with an outstanding silicone. You may not be able to pour a mold this thin with all silicone, so it's really going to be dependent on the product you're using. Notice how beautifully it picked up all of this texture and also how easily it's coming off of the vinyl. I was over the moon for how well this worked. And now I just want to find all of the vinyl fabric I can and pick up the texture from it because I'm really enamored with this idea. And I've made countless resin pours from this silicone piece now. And I have to say it's really about my favorite thing to do in the studio right now. Having all of these amazing textural pieces available for anything that I want to do has really opened up my creativity and made resin so fun. As with most silicone molds, this silicone has a slight amount of tack, which makes it perfect for adding mica to it. And I feel like an animal print really lends itself well to dusting it with mica first because it gives a far more organic blend, kind of a marbling, that you wouldn't have this much control in your pour of getting an exact marble. So I really love to add mica to any of my silicone molds, but especially the ones that have a really great texture. And now you can really see this texture coming to life. Watching this again just makes me giggle because I'm so thrilled with how this turned out. You always want to be careful what kind of brush you're using with your silicone because silicone can scratch. And it can scratch really easily, and once it does, it's scratched forever. And every time you pull any type of resin from this, it's going to have that scratch in it. So you always want to be really careful with the type of brush you're using, and you always want to check your brushes in advance to make sure that there's nothing accidentally sharp on your brushes, because sometimes that can happen in your studio. I really like makeup brushes for this. They have just a really soft consistency and they are the best. Also, there's just nothing like getting in there with your hands and spreading that mica around after you've gotten basically the layer down. Otherwise, your hand will actually stick to the silicone and may move it around. It's also a good idea to have your silicone mat on a surface that it sticks to, because it makes this a lot easier to do. I use a large marble tile that I got at Home Depot. It has a really nice weight to it, and silicone sticks to it really easily. Probably a wide variety of tiles would work, but a tile with some weight and a tile with a glossy surface is absolutely idyllic for this. This is a shot of the silicone from the back after it's been dusted. I like to take a look at it to just make sure that I like it, because you can always clean off part of the silicone if you don't like the way it looks before you do the pour. I loved the way that it looked, and it felt very organic to me. So now I'm turning it back over and I'm gonna get my Flex on. I'm using Flex at 90. It's a polyurethane casting resin from SRC, and it has so many wonderful properties that make it perfect for this type of application. It is a 1-to-1 by weight or volume, so it's really easy to measure and mix. It has a 3-minute work time, so you need to get it in there, get it mixed up, and get it on your mold. Don't dilly-dally. And it has a cure time of an hour and a half, but I found that this cured a lot faster than that for me, so I think that's just a win. It probably depends on the temperature in your workstation. I'm in Texas and my workstation was pretty warm. I'm also adding a polycolor black that works beautifully with polyurethane resin. You want to be sure not to use a water-based colorant with your polyurethane resin. It's not meant to have any water, and it can really affect the cure significantly. I'm using one of my favorite tools for my studio that is really an unsung hero. It's a paint spreader or a spackle spreader. I don't know. It spreads lots of things for home items on walls, paint, whatever. They're really cheap, they're readily available, and I absolutely find this to be invaluable in my studio. I have a bunch of them. It's a good idea to make sure and clean it and get all of the resin off of it when you're done, because any of the resin on it might actually scratch your silicone when you go back to do the next pour. Now I'm just going to let this cure, and then we're going to come back and see how beautiful this turned out. This is where the Flex really shines, and it's why I chose this product for this application. When you want to add something to any of your decor, most of the time your decor isn't flat. And I'm adding this to a memory box today, and I want to wrap the top and have part of it cascade over the side of the memory box. So I don't want my resin to be rigid, and I don't want to have to try too hard to find that sweet spot of when the resin's soft enough to move, but still cured, all the way to the resin's too hard to do anything with and it's going to crack and be brittle. This Flex-It is absolutely perfect because it's going to stay soft and pliable in order for me to put it onto whatever decor I want to use. Now, this is the memory box that we're using, and I've managed to transfer some mica. But that won't matter because I'm actually putting the add-on right on top of this space. So thankfully I already had a plan, and where I did transfer the mica, it won't matter at all. Now, as I said before, I did this actually very early in the cure with the Flex-It, so it did still have a bit of tack to it, which I used to my advantage. I went ahead and laid it in the position that I wanted it to be on before I finished demolding it, because it was starting to stick to itself, and I knew that I could get it off the mold, so I totally wanted to, because who wants to wait longer than you have to? And I also thought it would be good that it was a little bit tacky. It would make it easier to, it was kind of a level of repositionable, so it wasn't super sticky, but enough that it would stay put, and it worked out perfectly. I also forgot to turn on the camera when I added adhesive underneath the resin piece before I demolded it so that it would all stay put. Because this is going to lay flat and gravity was working in my favor, I didn't have to go crazy with the adhesive. But if you wanted to do something like this, like adding it to a vase or a wine bottle or something that was standing upright where you would be fighting gravity, you want to make sure that you get a really nice firm adhesive in the center, but also especially along the edges so that none of it peels up from the piece that you're adding it to. And if you're adding it to some type of glass, It's a good idea to get a little bit of a scuff on the glass from a nail file or something to that effect. You don't want to go in with a sander or be too aggressive, but getting just a little bit of roughness on the glass will make things adhere to it so much more easily and give it longevity. I thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful project. I had such a good time doing this. I would love to hear from you about any projects that y'all might like to see me demonstrate. And also, if you have any questions about anything further that I didn't cover, I welcome all of your questions. There's no gatekeeping here. I want to help you make amazing art. Always feel free to ask how I did something or why I did something, and I'm happy to tell you. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure and leave a like and a comment. That really helps us make more of this type of content. We'll have a new tutorial coming out soon showing you how to use more of these wonderful products from Specialty Resin.